Hello students, in the previous class we discussed about the different sources like surface water sources, okay, and also groundwater sources. Now in today's class we are going to discuss about how we are going to collect the water from that particular source, right? So what are the structures there for to collect the water from the source, okay? So those things we are going to discuss in this class, right? So the structure which is going to build near the source to collect the water from the source, that is called intake, okay? So that is called as intake, right? So that collection system or collection structure, right? So it is a structure placed in a surface water source to permit the withdrawal of the water from the source, right? So whatever may be the source, if you want to get water from the source, you have to build, right? So something, okay, some structure, right? So that is called as a intake, okay? So and also it discharge it into a intake conduit to the treatment plant, right? So if you find a source, right, you are going to construct a structure called intake structure. It is going to collect the water and further it will, okay, give one pipe will be there from this, right? So this pipe will go to the treatment plant where you are going to treat the water, right? So this structure which is constructed near the source to collect the water, that is called as intake. It is maybe a masonry or concrete structure, right? So it can be constructed with masonry or concrete. Then it is provide clean and pollution free water. It is going to give the free and pollution free water, okay? Next point. What are the factors which governing the location of intake, okay? So in the exam point of view, this is the very important thing, okay? The first thing is, as far as possible, the site should be near the treatment plant so that the cost of conveying water to the city is less, right? So you have to select a place where you have the less distance between source to the treatment plant, right? Treatment plant to the source should be, the distance will be very less, okay? Why means the cost of conveyance to pump the water from source to the treatment plant is going to reduce when you are going to maintain very less distance, okay? Next, the intake must be located in the purer zone of the source to draw best quality water from the source, right? So to take best quality of water from the source, right, it must be located in the purer zone. If you are taking a city, right, so here city is located. If city is located, almost everyone will use this river water and they will, okay, give wastewater to the, again back to, they will discharge wastewater to the river. If you are having a intake structure here, right, so this will give polluted water, okay? Instead of locating at the downstream of the town, if you select a place which is upstream to the particular city or town, so that you are going to get pure water, right? So without any pollution, right? So that's what is telling. The intake must be located in the purer zone of the source to draw best quality water from the source, thereby reducing load on the treatment plant. If you get good water, okay, so it won't create much load on treatment plant. Next, coming to the third point, the intake must be near to the, located at the downstream of or in the vicinity of the point of disposal of wastewater, right? So that's what we discussed, okay? It should not be there at the intake should not be there at where we are going to add this wastewater, or where we are going to dispose the wastewater into river. It should not be taken here. It will be far away to the, what is called, or upstream to the disposal of wastewater, okay? Next, the site should be such as to permit greater withdrawal of water if required at a future date, right? The site should be, okay, should be get more amount of water. Even in the dry season also, the intake should get water into it, okay? Next, the intake must be located at a place from where it can be drawn water even during the driest period of the year, okay? The intake should be located where we are going to get very dry water. If it is going to have less water also, if you are going to collect, okay, so that's kind of site you have to locate. Then last point, the intake site should be remain easily accessible during the floods, should not get flooded. Moreover, the flood water should not be concentrated in the vicinity of the intake, right? So can access the intake structure very easily at any kind of weather conditions, even flood also, and also flood water should not be, right? So what is called, should not be there near to the intake. If flood water is there, so there will be more load on the treatment plant, right? So these are the factors governing the location of what is called site of intake. Then what are the different types of intakes? What are the different types? So it is based on the source, based on the place, right? So that we have mainly three types of classifications. Okay, the intakes are classified under three heads. The first one is submerged intake. That means the intake structure will be underwater. Okay, the intake structure will be under water. So this is constructed entirely under water. Then coming to the exposed intake. That means if this is the water level, this one, first one, submerged will be there inside the water, and in case of exposed, no, it will be constructed like this, right? So only remaining part will be exposed to the thing, right? So it is in the form of a well or a tower constructed near the bank. It is a tower like or well like thing. It is constructed near to the bank. Then second classification is based on what is the amount of water it is there. Wet intake and dry intake. Wet intake means, right? So always there will be water in this well. The collected water will be there in this well. If no water is there, just only pipes and pumps are there inside this intake well, that is called as dry intake, right? So water level same as the water level of the source of supply. This is called jack well. Example is jack well. This is commonly used. In case there is no water in the water tower, that is called dry intake. Then coming to the different sources are there, that is river intake. If it is there in the river, if in the intake in the reservoir is called reservoir intake, and if it is there in the lake, it is called lake intake. If it is there in the canal, it is called canal intake. This is the based on the source, and in our syllabus also we are going to discuss about all these four, right? River intake, reservoir intake, lake intake, and canal intake. Okay. Next, how to design the intake structures? Okay. So to design, what are the things required? The first thing is what is the discharge required to be discharge to be collected through the intake is needed. Okay, based on this Q value you are going to find, right, A value, that is area of course screen in front of the intake. So either it may be rectangular, means area into depth into width into length, and also if it is triangle, circular, we are going to find out the diameter, and also design the bell mouth entry, right? So if you have any intake, so that intake will be like this, the pipe, this is the screen, right? So over this we have bell mouth entry. Okay. Next, design of intake conduit. Conduit means from here what is the size of pipe required to meet this discharge. Okay, and also what is the diameter required, what is the head length and slope of the pipe. Okay. Next, river intake. The first type of intake is river intake. In exam point of view, this is most important topics, right, where you have to draw neat diagram of intakes and you have to explain the parts of it, how it is going to work, right? The first thing is it is located upstream of the city so that less polluted water will be available. That point we know, right? So if it is river is there, if this is the town, okay, this is the upstream, this is downstream of river, right? So if you take here, all polluted water will be joined here. The river intake should not be here, and it should be at the upstream side. Okay. Next one, it is located sufficiently inside the river to get water in all seasons where depth is more, right? So whenever depth is more, we have to locate there so that in every season it can draw the water from the river, right? So if water level is low, a weir may be constructed to raise the water, right? So the weir means a small height of wall will be constructed across the river so that the water will be stopped here and we can take very easily water. Okay. Next, an approach channel may also be constructed, right? So approach channel means if you have intake here, you can have a channel from river to the intake. Okay, so this is the thing. If you take intake parts, this is the bed of the river where we have foundation for this intake well, and we have diameter now. So this like this it will be there. This side this is the bank. Okay, so from there here we have in the pump, and from the pump we have suction well, and this is the delivery pipe. Okay, so this is the pump where we have room like thing, where we have roof like here. This is called control room where we have switches and pumps, and here two windows are there for that room. Then if you take here normally this is the approach or offtake channel. It will take water near to the here. Here you can see the well is having the water, right? So which is equal level from the river to the well water also. That's why this type of intake is called wet intake. This type of intake is called wet intake, where the water level in the river and also water level in the what is called well are equal. Okay. Next we are having the maximum water level, that is high flood level. This is normal water level. This is minimum water level. Like that we have the parts, and we have strainer and sump. This is called sump well. Okay. These are the parts of the river intake. Okay. Next thing is reservoir intake. When reservoir forms, whenever you have a river, if you construct a dam across to the river, right? So then there is a formation of big pool of water. This is called reservoir, right? So if you have a intake in the reservoir, that is called reservoir intake, right? So when water in river is not guaranteed throughout the year, a dam is constructed across it to store the water in the reservoir. If water is not available throughout the year, we are going to construct the dam like this, then we can store the water. From there we are going to collect the water. That thing is called reservoir, right? So it is design depends upon the type of dam, right? So next, the earth dam will with several entry ports constructed near the toe of the dam, if access to be provided with the footbridge, right? So if it is a earth dam, several ports, right? So if this is the well, right, it will have a several ports to collect, right? Collection, we have several ports here to the pipe. If it is a earthen dam, that's what is going to tell. You can see here, this is the intake well of reservoir. This is the earthen bund, right? We are going to construct here, and we have a footbridge from earthen bund to reach here, and we have a right. So outlet valves, right? So for every port, this is the port number 1. This is the outlet valve for port number 2. This is the outlet what is called valve for port number 3. Okay. If maximum water is there, the water will be collected here also. From water will be reduced only 2. If fully reduced, only one pipe will collect the water, right? So all water will be taken in a common pipe and it will taken out of the dam, right? So this is the earthen dam, and this is called intake well or tower. This is the control room where we have pipes and other things. Okay, this is the maximum water level or normal water level. This thing is called reservoir. Okay, so these are the parts of reservoir intake. Then coming to the third one, lake intake, right? So small like reservoir, okay, but depth not possible near the bank. Normally it is taken center. Normally if in the case of river intake and reservoir intake, your intake near to the bank, but for lake it may not be possible, no? That's why this intake will be at the middle of the lake, right? Next, it is submerged intake provided with wooden crypts at the top, so it will be there in the middle of the water now. So you can see here we have the inlet bell mouth entry. Around this we have some masonry structure to protect from water waves, and we have cover to protect the entry of all kind of impurities, right? So here I have a rocks on both sides or masonry structure, right? On the top we have a cover. Okay, so this is the lake level of water, from where water will enter into this inlet pipe and it will be taken to the bank. Okay, this is called lake intake. Then coming to the final type of intake, this is very important for exam point of view, that is canal intake, right? Here it will be for a smaller towns, right? So the irrigation canal may be selected as a source, right? So it may be constructed with masonry or concrete structure, with water allowed through a coarse screen and a fine screen is provided over the bell mouth entry, right? So this is the bell mouth entry, right? Here we are going to provide a fine screen, through this water will enter, right? So over bowl mouth entry of the inlet pipe and located, okay, expected low level, right? So water flow due to gravity or can be pumped, even through pump or gravity can be collected, right? So you can see here, simply it is kept here. This is both bell mouth entry. This is the well constructed at the bank of the canal, right? So this is the canal bank, and we have a control valve over this to control flow of water into the outlet pipe, okay? And here outside we are having the course screen. This is the bed of the canal, and this is low water level. This is full supply level, right? So the water enters here, and it will be enters through the bell mouth entry, and it will leave through outlet pipe, okay? So these are the all types of intakes, right? So I am going to conclude now. In this previous class we saw the what are the structures are there to collect the water from the source. That structures are called intake structures, right? So we have what are the different factors it is going to affect the locating the intake structure. And we saw the classification of intake. In that thing we discussed about river intake, and second one is reservoir intake, third one is lake intake, and fourth one is canal intake. These are the four main types are discussed here. River and canal intakes are more important in the point of JNTK examinations, right? So thank you.